exactly.
So where do we
So
start?
yeah, a lot of these foundational phases are the ones that I wanted to share from the perspective of let's let's try to do this on my own. I don't think there's I think there's a lot of value that comes with an owner being aware of what it takes to to put on a hat and a role of someone else's role. So the bare minimum should be, to have your own domain name and hosting. That's kind of like something that we are
Oh,
all aiming.
yeah, I mean, but that costs money, right? A domain
It
and hosting
does.
costs money.
Yeah,
So I would even say the real minimum is just getting a Google business profile and
that too.
a social media, like a social media account, and
Yeah.
then you have to do the work. You have to post, you have to create the content, um,
Hmm.
and start that's marketing, right? Just start getting out there,
Hmm.
letting people know what you do and what service you provide them.
Yes. If you start with the basics, you would go on having your own, you already have a digital presence by having some profiles of your business and such, and be able to be linked into the platform and the industry that they're representing. So you do have some tools for basic analytics and the traffic setup that needs to, be linked to your domain is essential. But then I think I like this build-in starting phase to have three main factors, which are your foundation as a brand. How are you going to be exhibiting this, with your logo and be visible? But then there's this part about the lead generation that to me is like super, super important. What I have found personally and in the workspace, people that have launched campaigns without necessarily being ready to launch them. And not necessarily because you won't take the initiative to do a lot of the work that makes you when you have a lot of leads, but because you could make your life easier, right? If you were
Yeah.
to just think about and plan it. So that's that's kind of like how I see it. So what do I do with all of these leads? Let's think about that. Let's see how well you respond and with a number of calls and such. So this is just the core. Where do you start in your core? Everything comes from the core. Um, definitely.
Awesome. Exactly. Right. So you made me think about, because we just did what Laura was talking about with a client, where we
Yes.
skipped phase one.
Hmm.
They have parts of phase two. They have visibility, but they don't have,
Oh, but
you know,
they do have part of phase one
yeah, they
story.
have portions, right? They have portions
Yeah.
of these, but it's
Hmm.
and that's where it's like action, right? You want results, you got to do with you have to act from where you are right now. And
Hmm.
that's from a very analytical perspective, it's hard, right, to say, hey, we don't have all of these things. Let's not move to phase three until we have phase one and phase two done, right? But
Yeah.
that's the beauty of being real, right? Like, this is real life. We know that we're not going to be perfect regardless, but what can we
Hmm.
do with what we have right now to
With
provide
what?
action, to provide
Hmm.
results, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because you started talking, you reminded me of this, and we just
Yeah.
started that campaign, and I opened up their lead capturing, right? um, and
Yeah.
we have a
Is
new
it
lead.
awesome?
Well, we have one new lead. Like, it
Nice.
looks like it's working, right? We got one new
Yeah.
one.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, well, let's keep going, right? It's the monitoring of of that aspect. So
Hmm.
that's where, that live chat. that live communication. People
We,
ask questions and you need to answer.
yes. I think we did it. The only thing that was, from my perspective, in terms of what has worked, unfortunately, we couldn't retrieve anything that has worked before in terms of campaign because we could have, done something similar, but we went on this other new direction, and I guess that created some. But yes, it's never going to be easy, nor it's going to be. Um, it's just some steps that you need to take, but you could go through not being completely prepared just because you need, an essential uni business. So that's a reality.
Correct. Right. You
Yes.
need to make revenue so you can pay yourself so that you can have a business, right?
So that you can have a business, exactly. So, even though these are just starting minimums, I think these phases are for anyone that is looking to create a business. I think any business owner knows this stuff nowadays. It's just so
If you don't, well, here it is.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Because a lot of people are so they self-retrieve a lot of information from online. We are learning in different ways, so I'm not surprised that they already know this. But then when it gets too technical, you can always call us too, because
Exactly.
that's the other phases.
Or if this is just too much, right?
That's
You
true.
might
That's
have
true.
too much things to do for your business, and this is
Yeah.
just too much work. But
Thankfully, you have so much work that you have to delegate that. Correct.
good problems.
Yes, good problem. Yep.
And
So,
then, yeah, you mentioned, so these are the core, right? So I think that's how this is
yeah.
structured, right? This is core. You have three core phases:
Mm-hmm.
your foundation, which is your digital presence with your name, your conversion pages, you're on Google, your business is on Google. You have some form of email, right? Some branded email, and some branding assets like your logo and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Your social media profiles so people can find you. Make sure that you're active on them so that people know that, hey, you're actually doing stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
Search engine optimization on your conversion pages and on your home pages, right? So your basic SEOs there. And make sure that you have reviews on the platforms that are specific to your industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And go from there. So analytics and traffic of all of these things is important. Then your lead generation. How are you going to manage those customers, the customer relations, the
Your
marketing
good
of that?
problems.
Yep. This is meaning that people are interested in what you're selling, right?
That's true. Yeah, you have a
It's
selling point.
correct. And then now, so that's really foundational on your digital presence. From there, it's like, okay, I want more. What more
Mm-hmm.
can I do? I want I want more business. I want more people to know who we are. What can I do?
Yeah. So, um, I think amplifications is also a word that I adopted from you guys, the IT people. I'm not sure where I got it. I just read about it and I just go, I like this word. It's the word implying to just amplify means you are at another level. You're not only leveling up, you're thinking about scaling up. You are thinking just forward. So I like that. These three phases are definitely what it means to take your business to a different level, which is your paid advertisement on the digital level, right? We're not covering all of the marketing efforts, only on the digital strategy that you could uh, create for your company. So, anything in any platform, I have learned. I used to be a very big advocate of LinkedIn, only because in the business that I've performed before have been so directly to businesses that require that type of profiling. But then we've been, immersed with restaurants, and it's such a different tone that it's crucial for one business owner to decide which media to be on exclusively to show their brand in a very, broad way. So, um, I think the platforms that you choose are crucial. Where people are looking for you are essentially something that someone needs to strategize with you. And the same goes with the meta between
Sorry.
no worries, between Google searches and Meta ads and LinkedIn. So they are different. They are different platforms that have different objectives, and therefore you could have different results by investing on them.
Well, they're different audiences, right? I think here
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're here, we're talking about audiences,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you're paying for. You're paying for different audiences to get in, to create ads inside of those audiences.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right.
Well, and then essentially, how do you become? This is the what was it? EEAT factor.
What was that?
Um,
It stands for experience, expertise, and authoritativeness and trustworthiness. So
yeah.
I think that's what we're talking about next, right? Um, you know,
Um,
when we talk
yeah.
about Googling yourself and search, when we get to that search piece, it's very important because it really SEO and stuff like that hasn't really changed. I think I think we have a whole slide just on that. Let's save
We,
that one.
yeah.
Let's save that one for a little bit. We're
That one
almost
for the
there.
next. Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm gonna go and cover phase 5, which is just about content.